Hello, thank you for joining me today. My name is Irene Davil with Victory Home Builders. We are a residential construction company here in the Denver metro area. We also have investment strategy, all baked in all that we do with our construction work. Today, I will be talking to you about the numbers, looking at our project from the eye of an investor. The title of our topic today is Understanding the Numbers as a Real Estate Investor, and the focus is on residential rehab. So the first thing you do is find a property that meets your predetermined criteria, and then you evaluate the property. Some predetermined criteria would be, number one, location. Location is very important, and it may not be just what you think. It depends on your strategy of investment. Think about it. Every part of town, there are houses, both in the hood or in a mansion or in the nice area, wherever. It depends on the strategy of the investor. So you determine the location that you would like to invest in. You also determine your price range. What is your money power? How far can you go? What is the money weight you can lift, so to speak? So you do the price range, you figure that out. And also you determine your exit strategy for whatever property you're going to be looking for. Do you want to buy, fix, and hold? Or do you want to buy, fix, and sell? So you need to know what strategy you want to go for. You should have multiple strategy, but your A strategy could either be buy and hold, and your B strategy would be to sell, or vice versa, depending on the temperature of the market when your property is ready or what you really want to do. So you need to know your exit strategy. Another predetermined criteria you should consider is the level of work that you're willing to take on. Are you a new investor? It's advisable not to take on more than you can chew, even if you have the money to do it. So the different level of work could be cosmetic, could be heavy rehab, and it could be new construction, depending on what you want to do. Now, how do you find potential deals? Number one, you can find deals through real estate agents. Now, I know some investors say, they never go through real estate agent. They have a different way of looking at of finding deals. That's fine. But as a real estate investor, you can find deals from real estate agents. I've found multiple deals from real estate agents. You just need to know who to deal with, and you know how to direct the agent. You can even work with a rookie agent, or you can work with an advanced agent. If you as the investor know what you're looking for, you can guide the agent to get you the property that you want or give you the right list of property. And as an investor, do not depend on the agent to give you your ARV. Yes, you ask them to send it to you. Ultimately, you have the responsibility to figure out your ARV. I hear people say, look for a real estate agent that is investor friendly. What I found out these days, every real estate agent says they are investor friendly. That's fine. You can say that, but you as an investor need to know how to run your numbers, because ultimately the agent wants to sell a deal quickly. They want to make their commission. That's their business. They're like a bubble in a section of your business. You're the owner of the business. You need to take charge of your business. Don't always go by what the real estate agent tells you. Am I running down real estate agent? No, they have their place, but you need to know your place. All right. So you can get deals from real estate agents, right? You can get deals from wholesalers. I get most of my deals really from wholesalers. If you're an investor that wants to focus on fix and flip or new construction, you may not initially put all your energy in doing the wholesale part and going to go knock doors, talk to customers, potential clients. That is a whole business strategy on its own. If that's what you want to do, you may want to focus in that and here and there do some fix and flip. But if you want to do the fix and flip, get to know some wholesalers in your market. Get to befriend them. Tell them to send you the properties before they put it out for the general market to see. So that's one way you can get your deals. Another way of getting your deals will be self-search. Believe it or not, one of the last few deals I got from Zillow myself. I didn't use any agent. I knew what I was looking for. I just started looking at properties in a certain fixed filter that I set on Zillow. And I was able to locate what I wanted. And what I did, I just called the listing agent and say, hey, I don't have an agent I'm working with. I want you to put an offer for me on this property. They will love it. I mean, their primary responsibility, of course, is to the seller, not you. So you got to understand that. But you're trying to leverage the relationship so they will beat down the price as much as possible, knowing that they're going to eat on both sides. So we can talk about all these strategies in another video. That's not the main focus today. So what did we say? How do you find your deals? Number one, we said real estate agent. Number two, we said wholesalers. And number three, you can search for yourself. And sometimes you can do paid subscription like Investor Lift. You can pay paid subscription to look for your deals. Now you found a potential deal. The first thing you do is visit the property. Put an eye on the property, right? Do a physical inspection of the property, especially if you're in town, if you're in the same geographical location as the property you're looking at. Now, everything I'm talking to you about right now is you being in the local market, can start from there. So that's what I'm focusing on. You go do an inspection of the property. Now, when I do an inspection of a property, I'm looking for things to make me not buy this house. You got to look at all the negatives because you already came into the property thinking that, I'm potentially going to get a deal. But you have to come like an inspector, like you're a city inspector looking for everything that's wrong with this house, okay? So you put on that cap on and you start looking around the house. You look for cracks, maybe foundation walls, or if not even just foundation walls. You look for cracks on the walls. You look for vertical cracks or horizontal cracks. Now, vertical cracks are very easy to fix. A lot of people don't know that. But the horizontal ones, those are the real problem if you have to fix them. So you have to think about that. Are you the kind of investor that's ready to take on that responsibility or not? You got to know. So look for walls. Look for cracks on the walls. The other thing you look for is water damage. Water damage could be a deal breaker because under the marks of the water damage could be mold. And if there's mold, that's a big deal. You may have to rip out almost a section of the house, depending on how bad the mold is. So water marks, you need to look out for water marks. The other things you can look for, heaves on the floor. See if the floor is even, or if they have heaves on the floor. If there's a heave, that means there's foundation problems in that house. And you may have to rip the floor up to the subfloor, and then you may have to do some jacking. It could get complicated. So you got to know what you should be looking for. Now, when you see these things, doesn't mean that it's not a deal. Those are just going to be chips for your bargaining with the seller, right? Something else you can look for is the age of the furnace, the age of the appliances. Look for things that you might need to change that might cost a couple of $1,000s. Okay, you need to look at the panel, the electrical panel. Do we need to change that? You need to know. You need to look at the floor. Do you need to change the carpet? Fine. If that needs to be done, you need to know. And sometimes before you go to a house, they tell you, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. You have to make sure all the so-called bedrooms are conforming bedrooms. Sometimes they add bedrooms in the basement that are not conforming. You may need to consider the fact that for you to actually call this a bedroom, you may need to put an egress window. That is another couple of $1,000s for you to put an egress window. So you need to consider that if you want to take on that kind of project as well. These are some of the things you're looking for. There could be more. You look at the bathroom tiles. You look at the doors. You may need to change the doors. You may need to change the knobs. So those things will determine the level of construction or repair that would need to be done on this property. Now you are deciding to put an offer on this property because you have a little bit more information. You have an idea what it will cost you to fix this property. Now in another video, we can go into detail how to determine your labor costs and your material costs. Let's assume now that you've determined what you require to fix this property. Of course, they've told you what they want for their property. That's fine. Anybody can want whatever they want for their property. It's their prerogative. And it's my own prerogative to come into the deal, look at the property, and figure out what I think I can offer for this property. Okay? I need to figure out what is going to be my ARV for this property before I put in an offer. ARV means after repair value. Now, a lot of real estate agents don't know how to look for the ARV because, number one, they probably don't know your work. Maybe they don't know the kind of upgrade that you put into properties, right? They don't know, but you should know. You should know the value, the quality of your work that you're going to put in, right? And you would know what is the end product that you're trying to produce here. Like if it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, and you looked at the house and you figured, oh, I can make this a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house. So you are going to be looking for comparables that are similar to your final product. Your comparables will not be 2-bedroom, 3-bath in this instance because you're looking to add a bedroom and add a bathroom. So you're going to be looking for ARV of 4 bedrooms and 3 baths. See? So you got to look at properties that will look very similar to your finished product. The most important numbers you need to figure out before you put an offer, like we said, is the ARV. Now, how do you find your ARV? What are the things you need to consider? Number one, you would consider at least or identify at least 3 properties that are in close proximity to the subject property that are comparable to your subject property. What do you mean comparables? The first thing I do is look at the distance around the property. I would love to look at property that are 0.25 miles from my subject property. If I can find good enough comps around 0.25 miles radius, and then you move it 2.5 miles radius. If you can find more, then the max I would do will be 1 mile. Now, the further you go, the riskier it gets, right? So the closer to the comp, the better the deal. Or the closer to the subject property, the better your deal. So locate at least 3 properties that are comparable to the property that you are considering. Now, when we say comparable, what do we mean? You compare ranch home to ranch homes. You compare 2-story buildings to 2-story buildings. You see, you compare tri-level homes to tri-level homes. Okay, do not compare a ranch home to a 2-story building. These are not comparables. You also compare the year of build. If your house was built in maybe 1952, the comps should be around that age range as well. So if you're going to be rehabbing it, your comp would not be a new construction that was built the last 5 years. No, that will not be your comp. You might try hard to get as close as possible, and I would even encourage you to try to, rehab better, but always know the newer houses would comp better than the older houses. Okay, so you consider the age. Something else I also consider, which is very, very important, and this I can get from a real estate agent, is what I call the ADOM, average days on market. So that would tell me if I was going to flip this property, what is the average days I'm expecting this house to be in the market before I can sell it? So I look at the statistic. I look at the houses that I've sold, probably the last 3 months, maybe 6 months the most. What is the average number of days they spend in the market? So these are something very, very useful that you can ask a real estate agent to provide for you. Average days on market. Other things that you compare, square footage. You compare the square footage. So if the house you're looking is 1,500 square feet, you're going to be looking at houses that are about maybe 1,300 square feet to like 1,700 square feet, like 200 average around the number that you are working with. You can't be working with a 1,500 square feet house and be looking at a 2,200 square feet house. That is no longer a comp. Okay, so you look at that. You also consider the lot size. You might have the same size house. Everything comes to very well. But if the lot size of your house, of your potential buy, is much smaller than the lot size of your comparables, you need to understand that you may not be able to sell as high as that because of the lot size. Something else you consider is above grade square footage or below grade square footage. They don't have the same value. The values that are above grade, the square footage that are above grade means they are above the ground level, right? Those have better value than the space, so to speak, that are below grade. The space is below grade. That's your basement. Okay, the basement value is never equal to the above grade value. So when you're looking at your comps, that's something you also have to consider to make an intelligent or informed decisions. Something else to consider when you're trying to figure out your ARV is the quality of finish. How is your quality of finish going to be compared to the houses you're looking at? Are you planning to spend as much money as they spend on the comps that you're looking at? Or is your budget constrained to do just a little bit of stuff here and there? So you have to understand, if you're not going to spend that much money that was spent on the comps, then you may have to comp your house lower, knowing that you're not going to be putting that much money to repair everything that needs to be repaired. So that's something we can talk about some other time as well. All right, something else to consider before you put in an offer is the cost of repair. If you plan to do more or a lot of fix and flip, you have to come up with a quick formula to determine your cost of repair, depending on if it's a light rehab, if it's a heavy rehab, or if it's a new construction. For light rehab, you may just quickly do like maybe $60 per square foot. If it's a heavy rehab, maybe $120 per square foot. And then if it's going to be a new construction, maybe $160 per square foot. So that's something you may need time to develop and come up with how you can quickly determine your pricing, so it will help you with your offer. Some of the things to also consider is the holding cost. If it's going to be a cosmetic fix, you don't need to pull a permit. The time is in your hand. You just do whatever you need to do and get out of the project ASAP. That you may consider a short hold time. You have to think about what it will cost you for your holding cost. Your holding cost would include like the interest payment, the utility bill, and the taxes you have to pay for that time period that you will have the property. So it depends. So you need to consider your holding cost. Now, there's a quick formula that we use to determine our offer. What I do to determine my offer for a potential buy is, once I figure out my ARV times 75%. So you figure that out, and then you subtract the cost of repair, and that should determine your offer. Now, this is very general. There are other moving parts that you consider as you go further into the deal. If you're in a market that is very competitive, what I would do is still do my ARV. I'm sure now you know what ARV is, which is your after repair value. ARV times 75% minus, I would do 80% of cost of repair. So sometimes you can move numbers around just based on what the market is saying. Okay, that's something you could also do. Now, once you get this number, you're able to put in your offer. All right, let's look at a quick example of how to determine your offer. So let's say we've determined our ARV to be 100,000 for simplicity. And our cost of rehab is, let's say, 20,000. My offer will be 100,000 times 0.75 minus 20,000. And that will give me 55,000. So my offer in this instance will be 55,000. Now, if I want to be competitive, maybe I've done my research and I realize that this house is going to sell even before I put it in the market, because I've noticed that the average days on market in this neighborhood is like maybe 5 days. Like, it's going to go very quickly. I can try to be more competitive in my offer by changing my variable. I can go a little bit higher here, or I can make this a variable by multiplying it by maybe 75%. So you can play with the numbers. So for instance, instead of doing 100,000 times 0.75, I can say my offer will be 100,000 times maybe 0.85, right? Minus 20,000. Now, when we do this, what do we get? It will be 85,000 minus 20,000. And what is that? You have 65,000. So I can decide to be more competitive and put in an offer of 65,000, knowing that other variables are less risky. So I'd rather make less money and get out of it quicker and be more competitive than try to make the most money and may not even get the deal because there are 4 or 5 other people lined up to put in an offer on this deal. So it all depends. So that's one way to determine your offer. Another way to calculate your offer sometimes is to work backwards. So if I know my ARV is 100,000, right? And if my strategy is to sell this property, I usually would put 0.05 or 5% for commission and closing cost. Commission for the real estate agent, closing costs for like title fees and stuff like that. Now, why do I put 5%? Don't you pay 6% for real estate agent? I don't pay 6% because I'm an investor. I work with investor-friendly agent that will sell my property, and they sell my property for like maybe 1% or 1.5%. So my total that I pay for real estate commission is 4%. So the 1% will be for the closing costs. Never pay 6% for your deal. If this is your business, if you do repeated deals, if you have agent that sell for you, they should be able to give you a deal. Okay, so I always calculate 5% for that. So 5% will be $5,000. So at this point, I'll do 100,000 minus 5,000. And what is that? $95,000. And then we determine that my repair cost is $20,000. Cost of repair is $20,000. So I'm going to subtract $20,000 from this. What does that give me? I have $75,000. Right? Now, what is the minimum profit that I want to make in this deal? If I'm going to do any deal at all, I should be able to make $15,000 to $20,000 on the deal, especially if it's a small deal like this. The numbers are usually smaller. So let's say I want to make $20,000 on this deal, right? Profit is $20,000. My offer will be $55,000. So there you go. And if I want to play around with my profit and say, oh, I want to make $10,000, there you go. You move it up to $65,000. So this is another way of calculating your offer. Well, I'm going to stop right here today. I hope you gained something good from participating in this podcast. Please send me a DM or put a comment in if you have any question. If you want to learn more, we'll be happy to work with you, show you more of what we know here. Or if you want to work on our project or work with us in our building project, please join us. And of course, subscribe to my channel. I want to build my community and I want to reach more people. I hope you gain value today. Thank you and see you some other time.